attitude is a favorable or unfavorable expression of an individual related to a particular thing or a people or event based on their evaluation. So apart from the heredity, so these all are the other factors which influence your personality. So that is environmental factors. Sources which influence your personality is a heredity factor and environmental factors. So that your personality is the outcome of the heredity and environment. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to one and all to the third session on organizational behavior. So in the last session, we have discussed about the personality and ability, physical ability and intellectual ability. In today's session, let us continue with the personality. So big 5 personality models. So personality models, then sources of influences upon the personality. So what are the sources which influence on your personality? Next, nature of personality, then personality determinant. So all this we are going to study under this session. So in today's session, let us discuss all this topic. So let us start with the personality models. So under personality, we have 5 big models. So those 5 big models are extroversion, agreeableness, openness, consciousness, then neuroticism. So let us take one by one. So first one is extroversion. So what do you mean by extroversion? So the person who is high with this trait, so high extroversion traits, so is exciting. So he is exciting for all the things and is socialized himself, then is talkative person. So he involves himself in every way. He involves himself in all the fields. So he is ready to mingle with others. So he is socializing and he is ready to help others. So he is a talkative person and is more active person. So the person with high traits, so high traits, so he is have all these qualities. So that is, he is excited for all the things, then he is socializing, then he is a talkative person. So he is ready to listen other people, he is ready to listen others, then he is ready to mingle with social members. So it helps them to increase his knowledge and it helps to establish a coordination among the employees. So that is first one, extroversion. So next one is agreeableness. So the person with this trait is agree or he compromise with all the things. Like he is ready to compromise himself. So sometimes you should express your opinion, but the person with this trait is ready to agree all the instruction given by the top management. The person with this trait is a more cooperative person. So that means he is ready to accept or he is ready to cooperate for the others. So he is ready to accept or agree the orders from others or from the management. So next one is openness. The person with this trait is quite exciting or is curious to learn new things. He is curious to learn new things and he is ready to experience new things in his life. Is excited to the world as well as the people. So his openness. So he is ready to mingle with others and he is ready to learn new things from others. So that is openness. Then consciousness. So consciousness, so under this, so the person with this trait is very conscious and he is very planned. So he planned for the action, planned for the future goal. So he is a goal oriented person. So he clearly defines, he clearly knows his goal and he planned for the future. He plans and according to the plan he is going to take action or according to the plan he is going to execute. So that is consciousness. Next, neuroticism. So the person with this trait is his characteristics is sadness, mood swing and emotional instability. So all these are the characteristics of neuroticism. So these are the 5 traits or 5 models of personality. So we have this 5 types of personality. So organization has to deal with all these 5 types. So in the organization you need to find out this extroversion. So the type of people who are ready to mingle with the society. So it is easy for the organization to establish a coordination with this trait. So here, agreeableness. So for this trait or for this group of employees, So you can give orders or command, so it's ready to obey and they are ready to follow your orders and obey. They follow your orders and they work effectively according to your command. So next one, openness. So under this traits, the organization through the training and development, you can improve their skills and knowledge and you can expect more from them. So they are ready to learn new things. They are enjoying the new experience so that you can involve themselves in new ideas for creating new ideas. So next, under this type of people, they are firmed with their decision. So they plan for their action and they go accordingly. It helps to achieve your objective or to finish your project at a given time. So last one is to deal with this kind of people, it's quite difficult for the organization. So you need to find out this type of people so that you can take the necessary steps in order to deal with this type of people. So you can take measures to overcome from these problems. So these all are the 5 big personality traits or personality models. So moving further, what all are the sources which influence individual personality? So under that, first one is heredity factors. First one is heredity factors. So under heredity factors, so it may be from the family. So your behavior, your personality, it's quite similar to your family members like your mother or your father. So that is from your heredity. So some of the characteristics or feature is carried on from your family members. So that is one thing. So it influences on your personality. So your dressing sense and your behavior, your walking style and So all this will influence by your family members, that is your father or mother. So that is heredity factors. So either it may be from family members or it may be from practice, or when you are observing them knowingly or unknowingly, you try to follow them. So for example, your favorite actor or actress, you try to imitate their behavior or their walking style or their personality. So it influences on your personality. So it helps. This is the source to influence your personality. So that is first thing, heredity factor. So next one is environmental factors. So from your family members or your friend or from any other factors like a celebrity or any other source, you will get motivated or you will influenced by them. So that is first thing. Next one is environmental factors. So under environmental factor, social factor, society. So sometimes, so you will get influenced by the society to behave in a particular way in that particular situation. So next one is a cultural factor. So your dressing sense and your ethics, your customs. So all this will influence for your personality. To form a personality, all this factor will influence. So last one is the economic factors. So the various economic factors will influence for your personality. So all this comes under the environmental factor. Personality is not born, but only heredity factors. Only heredity factors. Heredity gives only the blueprint in condition of chromosomes and genes. But actual action on that gene is dependent on availability of environment conductive for that. So that means, so for the heredity factors will, it comes from genes. So again, it will depend on practice. So apart from the heredity, so these are the other factors which influence your personality. So that is environmental factors. So that is social, cultural and economic factors. So these are the sources. So heredity factor and environmental factor. Under environmental factor, social factor, then cultural factor and economic factors. So moving further, next topic is nature of personality. So nature of personality. So here personality is a dynamic whole. So individual personality is different. So it is differ from one individual to other individual. Your behavior is different from your family members or your friend. So as well as your behavior, your response with your friend, your reaction with your friend is different, and your family member as well as within the organization, your behavior and your personality is different. So it's a dynamic in nature. So next one, personality measures behavior. So personality helps to judge or helps to measure your behavior. For the organization, this personality helps to judge or evaluate individual behavior. So next one, outcome interaction of heredity and environment. So the sources which influence your personality is a heredity factor and environmental factors. So that your personality is the outcome of the heredity and environment. So the outcome of heredity and environmental factor is your personality. So you are going to respond based on the heredity and environmental factors for that particular situation. So next one, motive force. So your behavior, your personality is influenced by the motives, then your ego, attitudes and incentives. So all this all together it influence. So for the motive you are going to respond. So it's a motive and it's based on your ego, then incentives. So all these are the nature of personality. Moving further, personality determinants. So what are the personality determinants? So it represents the process of change and it relates to the psychological growth and development of an individual. So this can be classified into biological factor, cultural factor, family and social factor and situational factors. So these all are the determinants of personality. So if you have observed, so the determinants of personality, then determinants of personality, sources which influence the personality, then foundations of personality, characteristics of personality, all are quite similar. So you have same points like biological factor, cultural factor, family, then social factors you have already studied in the previous topics like sources, like foundations. So, and under all this topic we have studied the biological, cultural, family and social factors. So the same things continues. So here the personality determinants are classified into biological factor, cultural, family, social and situational factors. So under that first one is a biological factor. These factors have one-sided impact on personality. So the study of biological factor to a personality can be divided into three broad categories. So that is physical feature, brain and heredity. So now you know heredity factor, then brain. So under biological factor, brain, if you have observed, father and children have the same quality or same, generally they adopt same features like same brain simultaneously. So their thinking, their way of thinking and their way of response, so all these are similar, so which is related to brain. Then physical features. So your physical feature will influence on your personality. So like your height, your weight, your color. So all this will influence on your personality as well as the self-concept. So self-concept, it influences your self-confidence, then self-concept and self-esteem. So again it influences on the others. So the personality means, personality mainly how you are going to influence or your ability to influence others by your external appearance. Either it external appearance, right? Your height, weight, color, all this will influence on others as well as it influence your self-esteem and self-concept. So all this are comes under the biological factors. So moving further, cultural factors. Culture and values, we are surrounded by the significantly tend to shape our personal values and inclination. So thus, people born in different culture tends to develop a different type of personality. So based on your family background, their culture, you'll learn the same culture, but you'll try to adopt for the changes based on your society. So the people surrounded with you will influence to adopt for the changes. For example, your family members, they won't allow you to wear the modern dress. So your surrounding, so your external environment like your friend and your colleagues, so they influence to adopt for the new culture. So it influence, so they influence on your culture. So your culture is different, so now you are ready to adopt, so they influence on your cultural factors. So it influence on your personality. So your cultural factor will influence on the personality. So that is cultural factor. Next one is family and social factors. So family, that is your family member influenced by the heredity, brain and physical features. So all this comes under the family. Again, next, social factors. Social factors like external environment. So socializing process, your socializing process, then identification process, home environment, your family members, their behavior, then parental influence, then social groups like your friends and your working environment. So all will influence on your personality. So they comes under the social factors. So apart from the family members, all comes under the social factors. So they are going to influence on your personality. So next one is a situational factor. Situations influence the effect of heredity and environment on personality. Different situations influence the effect of heredity and environment on personality, different situations. So it demands different aspect of one's personality. So situation demands for the individual personality. So based on the situation, you are going to change your personality or your response. Based on the situation, you are going to respond for that situation. So there it influences an individual personality. So that is situational factors. So moving further, next is attitude. So what is attitude? Attitude is a positive or negative or mixed evaluation of an object that is expressed at some level of intensity. So it's an expression of favorable or unfavorable evaluation of a person, object, thing or event. So here attitude is a individual evaluation. So it's a response. Either it may be a favorable or unfavorable. So attitude is a favorable or unfavorable expression of an individual related to a particular things or a people or event based on their evaluation. So it's a favorable or unfavorable response for an individual based on your evaluation. So based on your evaluation, you are going to respond for the situation. So next, the definition. According to Gordon Alford, an attitude is a mental and neural state of readiness organized through experience, exerting a directive or dynamic influence upon the individual's response to all objects and situations with which it is related. So it's a mental and neural readiness, neural state of readiness to response. So organized through your past experience. So you're going to respond based on your experience, then exerting an object dynamic influence upon an individual response. So from the past experience, you're going to judge, you're going to evaluate an individual or the object, then you're going to respond for that situation. So it's a mental and neural state of readiness to respond for the situation. So next one, the characteristics of attitude. So attitudes are a complex combination of things we tend to call personality, beliefs, values, behavior and motivation. So it's a complex combination of all these things. So your personality, then your beliefs, your feelings, then your behavior and your motivation. So motives and motivations. So all this will influence or all this will help to evaluate and respond for the situation. So you're not ready to hurt somebody. So your response or your attitude, your behavior is different. So based on your beliefs and your behavior, you're going to respond. From your past experience, you have evaluated and you're going to respond. So your behavior and your beliefs will influence on your response here. So that is first characteristics. So next, can fall anywhere along a continuum from very favorable or very unfavorable. So either it may be a fully favorable response or unfavorable response. So attitude. So arrogant response or very polite response for the situation. So next, all people irrespective of their status or intelligence hold attitudes. So everyone has their own attitude irrespective of your status and your intelligence and all these factors. So everyone has their own attitude based on your beliefs, personality, values and behavior and motivation. So it depends on your behavior and all these factors. So but everyone has their own attitudes. Next, an attitude exists in every person's mind. It helps to define our identity, guide our action and influence how we judge people. So it influences, showcase or it explains how we judge and how we judge the people, how we are going to respond for the situation. So based on your past experience. So it helps to identify and it guides you for the action. So this attitude helps to, it guides you for the action based on your past experience. So although the feeling and beliefs components of attitude are internal to a person, we can view a person's attitude from his or her resulting behavior, so that other individual can identify or they can judge the individual attitude from their response or their behavior. So you can judge an individual attitude based on his behavior or response. So attitude helps us define how we see situation as well as define how we behave towards the situation or object. For example, in the organization, the manager needs to solve one conflict. So there is a conflict among the employee. Now the manager task is to solve that conflict. He needs to give judgment for that. So now his ability, it showcases or it identifies that how an individual is going to handle the situation or how he is going to judge that situation. So it's individual perception or individual beliefs, individual behavior and his personality, it helps or it guides to response for that situation. So the way how the manager handles the situation, it differ from one individual to other individual, so that it showcases that or it explains or it defines the individual attitudes. So next one, it provides us with the internal cognitions or beliefs and thoughts about the people or object. So it provides the internal cognitions. Also it provides the information or it provides your internal opinion towards the object or people. So you are going to express or you are going to respond for the object or a people. So it express so your internal opinion towards individual or for the object. So it can also be explicit or implicit. Explicit attitude is those that we are consciously aware. Implicit attitude is unconscious but still have an effect on our behavior. So your implicit and explicit, your response. So it will influence on your attitude. So next one, attitude causes us to behave in a particular way towards an object or person. So it guides you to respond for the situation. So an attitude is a summary of person's past experience. Thus, an attitude is grounded in direct experience, predicts future behavior more accurately. So from the past experience, you are going to judge and you are going to predict the future results accurately. So it helps to predict the future. So these all are the characteristics of attitude. So now the components of attitude. Attitudes are formed with the help of all these factors. So first one is your beliefs. So first one is beliefs. So established perception. This established perception is from the past experience. So from the past experience, your beliefs or your perception will change. So next one, your feelings. So your feelings towards an object or towards a people will influence. Then your behavioral intention. So your behavioral intention will influence. So all together, so all these three components, helps to form an attitude. So your past experience, your behavior, your feelings, so all together, so the combination of all this is a attitude. So the outcome of this three is a attitude. Based on these three factors, you're going to respond or you're going to behave, you're going to judge a people. So next one, functions of attitude. So functions of attitude, adjustment function. So here you're flexible enough to adjust for the changes. So that is adjustment function. Next, ego defensive function. So you're going to defend or you're going to express your opinion. So you're not ready to accept all the orders or all the decisions taken by others. So next one is a value expressive function. So value expressive function, you will give preference for your opinion. You will try to express yourself. You try to express your opinion to others. So next one is a knowledge function. Under knowledge function, you are going to implement your knowledge, your skills to take an action or to judge an individual or for the object. So here, these are the four functions of objective, four functions of attitude. First one is an adjustment function. Then ego defensive function, value expressive function and knowledge function. So next one, barriers to change your attitude. So sometimes you need to change your attitudes, but due to all these factors, you're not ready to adopt for the changes. So what are the barriers to adopt for the changes? So first one is prior commitment. So your prior commitment will make you to fix with the same attitude. So it is a barrier for you to change, adopt for the changes. So now it is already fixed in your mind. It is difficult for you to change. It is difficult for you to change, so that it's a barrier, your prior commitment. So next one is a insufficient information. So lack of information is the one factors. It's a barrier for the change the individual attitude. So if you know the proper information, you may change your attitude. But the lack of information, due to lack of information, you're not ready to change. You're not ready to adopt for the changes. So next one, balance and consistency. You should maintain the consistency in your decision. Sometimes, while balancing and consistent decision, it is a barrier for the changes, barrier to adopt for the changes. So next one, lack of resources. Same thing, lack of information and all these things is a barrier for the changes. So next one, improper award system. Next, resistance to change. So the company, they decide to change their policy, rules and regulation, working condition. But your resistance to change, you are not ready to accept the changes. You are not ready to adopt for the changes. So that is resistance to change. So the working timings. So 9 to 5. So I will be working from 9 to 5. That's it. I am not ready to change my working timings. So I can't come at 8 o'clock and I cannot stay till 6 o'clock. So that's your mindset. So that is resistance to changes, as well as the methodology. So then your production method or your business methods. So if your changes, if the organization decide to make changes in their procedure, if you are not ready to adopt for the changes, that is resistance to change. So these are the barriers for changing an individual attitude. Then how we can change the attitude, ways to changing the attitude. So new information will help to change the attitude. So there, the lack of information, due to lack of information, it's a barrier for the changes, right? So now we need to give the information. So new information will help to change your attitude. So negative attitudes are mainly formed owing to insufficient information. So when you get a proper information, then you will change your attitude from negative to positive. Then attitude may be changed through a direct experience. So sometimes direct experience helps to change your attitude. So again, the attitude depends on your past experience, right? Past experience, your beliefs and your behavior. So your past experience will help to change your attitude. Either it may be a positive or it may be a negative. Another way in which attitude can be changed is by resolving discrepancies between the attitudes and behavior. So, by discriminating between the attitude and your behavior. Then change of attitude can come through the persuasion of friends and peers. So they influence your friends and your peer groups will influence on your decision or your attitude. So attitude may change through the legislation. So all these are the way to change your attitude. So this is all about attitude. So ways to change attitude, barriers, then functions of attitudes, then components, characteristics, then meaning and definition. So this is all about the attitude. So in today's session, we have finished with the attitude, personality and all these factors. So this is the last topic for the unit 2. So let us meet in the next session with the unit 3. Until then, keep watching. Thank you.